It's been 32 days since I've seen another person other than Maureen.
Hello, welcome to our channel. We're all about sharing our adventures and experiences around our homestead and off-grid cabin here on our 40 acres in the wilderness of Ontario, Canada.
We enjoy life around the cabin, exploring, canoeing, hiking, campfire cooking, gardening, and sharing our love of nature.
If you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing and click the little notification bell so you won't miss anything. Right here on Cabin Life with Glenn and Maureen.
Hi everyone. Today I'm out here at the fire pit and actually it's late evening and I have a chore to do. It's pretty cold out right now. It's well below zero and I've had to put an extra layer on and I've got to start a fire and keep the maple sap boiling here. We're in the throes of finishing it. And it's a job that just needs to be done. So we're going to cook it down and continue on with the finishing process of our maple sap. We are looking at about a total of 1.5 gallons, maybe more. We'll find out in the end what we have. So I have to get a fire going. It's been snowing and there's about 1 inch of snow all around. We had our spring snowstorm and I've got to start the fire. So we could use an alternative fuel like propane or our little camp stove, but I don't really want to have to go through the expense of bringing a giant pot like that to boil and try to boil it down. The amount of fuel that would cost in this in this day and age, under these conditions and times, the situation we're in, I don't want to waste fuel on something that is not absolutely imperative, especially if I have a backup supply like wood. And there's a fire ban on in our province, from what I understand, but for cooking and for warmth, it's okay to have a fire. We have at least 4 meters of area, 5 meters of area all the way around the fire pit, all sand. There's snow all around on the ground. No danger of a fire starting. We're going to have a nice fire underneath of the boiling sap, so it's not sparky wood. We're using good dry maple hardwood, which does not spark at all. So safe conditions for burning. We're fine, and we're within the regulations. So let's get on with building a fire and see what kind of, it's not the best of conditions for fire lighting, but I'm going to challenge myself to starting it with some birch bark and a faro rod. And I'm going to be using some yellow birch along with some white birch as well, a mixture of the two, just because I have them, both of them, right here in my pocket as I was walking along in the bush. I scooped a handful of birch bark. On with getting the fire. I've got some small sticks that I collected in the bush as well as I went on my way, and to get my birch bark, just some real fine, what I call fine piney stuff, and I've got some good dry cordwood maple all ready to go as well for our fire. By the way, I just checked and it is minus 10 degrees Celsius. Yes, it is. Let's see how we do here with this is birch bark. Never overestimate your fire making power. That birch bark was damp and the wood is damp. So this fire has been a little bit tougher for me to start, but I think I got it now.
with the daytime temperatures reaching above freezing and nighttime temperatures going about 10 degrees below freezing, the sap continues to run. And I continue to pour sap into the sap boiling pot over the fire.
Well, it's nice to hear the sound of the sap boiling away. Kind of cool out tonight. It's about minus 10 Celsius. And oh, now that I've been out here for a while and working with the fire and working around the fire, I'm warmed up, and it's not so bad once you get out there. At first, I really didn't feel like coming out and having to, to get all into it and everything. But now that I'm here, yeah, sap boiling. It's awesome. Anyway, it's that's just part of what we're doing around here, and there's really not a heck of a lot else going on under these conditions and so forth with the physical distancing. I think it's been about 32 or 33 days now since I haven't seen anyone other than Maureen, and but we're getting along here, and we're getting by, and I hope that you're doing the same where you are. One of the things about cabin life and with our channel, we try to keep it real, and we try to pass on information and events that we are going through, and share the stuff that's happening around the off-grid cabin. And we enjoy sharing that stuff with you. While we did live our first 4 months off-grid through the winter in our 12 by 16 off-grid cabin, it was quite the experience. We lived in it all winter long for the first 4 months, during the first year that we were here, settling in on the land, waiting for our home to be built. And while we waited for the homestead to be built, we lived in the cabin, and it was completely off-grid, hauled our own water and all that. Now, at the same time, we've been transparent with you and let you know that we also have our on-grid homestead. It's partially on-grid for the most part, and we do draw our electric power from the grid. And having that is very convenient. So basically, we have the best of both worlds here. And we'll share our experiences about the off-grid cabin, and that's what our cabin life is all about. So we'll keep it real as we go, and there are times when we're going to have challenges, and we'll share those with you as well. So what I'm doing here with the sap, which is almost syrup, I would say it's 75% there. I'm just boiling down the rest of this down to get it to a certain point. You're wondering maybe, why are you outside boiling that? Why don't you just take it inside? Well, if we were to take that inside, all that steam that's rising up out of that pot is full of sugars, and that would make a sticky mess inside. So that's a no-no, unless you have a building where you can have the fire and the sap boiling, and in which case they call that a sugar shack, because the inside of it will be coated with sugar after the first season, and just from that sugary sap boiling and condensing on the structure. So we boil it down to a certain point, and when it gets to a certain concentrate, then we'll bring it inside, and we can finish it off inside, or we can finish it off outside if the conditions are nice, and finish it off outside with a smaller pot and a thermometer. So we have a rolling boil here, and Maureen is up and at 'em, and actually she's been at it all night as well. I've been out on the boil here, and Maureen's been inside filtering and getting the next pot ready for me to add to it and boil away. So it's just one of those things that we got to do, pulling another all-nighter.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
Yep.
So as I said in the beginning, I really didn't feel like coming out here to start doing all the boiling and whatnot, but we just felt that it wasn't going to be a good thing to just let that sap sit around, even though it was refrigerated and everything. I wanted to get it done and get that chore behind us and out of the way. And beautiful clear night. That moon with the that star to the to its, what's that, 1 or 2 o'clock there, the beautiful star there, so bright. I'm not sure what that is. If that's a planet, I guess it is. Anyway, just a great night. A little bit chilly, but nonetheless, it's nice. So in our Cabin Life series, we are going to be presenting you with other spring tasks that are on the way. As soon as we can get rid of this snow, I know you're itching to get at the garden.
Oh, absolutely. I was all ready to get going the other day, and then we had snow yesterday and today. So we'll have a few more days before we can get that going, but the plans are in the works.
And I want to set up a base camp. I want to get that done fairly early in the season before the black flies come out. And it seems there's always something. When you're getting ready in the fall and preparing for winter, you got to do stuff before the snow flies. But in the early spring, you got to hurry up and do stuff before the black flies. So, but yeah, we'll keep you posted on the stuff that we're doing, and we'll take you along for the ride. And like I say, we'll sometimes we don't do videos every single week because there's, quite frankly, not that much new to tell you about or to do, or stuff that's happened. So we'll we'll video as we feel that there's something we can update for you. We're going to continue boiling this sap down, and it looks like now is this the end of the sap? That's the end of the our major batch, right?
That's the end of the batch.
And we have one more small straggler batch that was the end of season stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. We've got a few gallons. So overall, folks, we boiled approximately 50 gallons of sap.
Yeah, about 50 gallons.
Yeah, about 50 gallons. And we think that a few of those trees were extra sweet this year. So that means our yield probably was well over a gallon. And so not too bad. I'd say that we doubled last year's. We'll see how it goes when we boil this stuff down and then we bottle it. And of course, we'll have a video on that. We'll show you what the end result is like. Can't wait to have some goodies done up with the maple syrup. Tell you what, leave us a comment down below if you will. What do you want to see us do with some maple syrup as far as cooking? Somebody said you got to have some bacon and then drizzle maple syrup over it. Oh yeah, maybe we'll do that. But hey, how about your comment below? Suggestions? We're open to anything, really, anything. So you see that the sap is on a rolling boil, and it's quite concentrated now. We've boiled, this is our third pot, I think, tonight that we boiled, and it's getting quite concentrate. This is the final boil, and it's getting quite bubbly and whatnot. You saw us monitoring the temperature. What was it at last you checked?
214 Fahrenheit.
214, and we're aiming for it to get upwards of 219 to 220 Fahrenheit. And I think what happens is as the water boils out of the content of the sap, like water boils at 212, So as it gets more concentrated, there's less water to boil, and I guess all those solids heat up more, like take in more of the heat, and slowly 214, 215, we'll get up to 219 and maybe 220, and then that'll be it. And we should be able to then bottle our final product, which is what we call finished syrup. And if we want to take that even a step further, we might even take a little bit of that a step further, separate it, and take it further and maybe make some candy or even some maple sugar out of it if we actually brew it all the way down, take the moisture out of it, and it'll crystallize and dry right out, and then we can have some maple sugar for your recipes.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. I think we should check this, see what the temperature of it is and whatnot.
We need to skim it?
And skim it too. Yep. $2.15. Going to do a test, see how the viscosity of it is. It seems to want to hang in there pretty good. $2.19. Oh, look at that! Wow,
Gooey.
that's pretty thick.
Whoa. Let's bottle her up.
Yep.
Bottle her up, Joe.
Syrup is ready. We have jars sterilized. There it goes, $2.19, yay, okay, it's ready.
That's it for this edition of Cabin Life. We'll see you next time. I'm Glenn.
I'm Maureen.
Over and out.
Take care.